Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Josie. I have a confession. I've started thinking about Christmas sweaters and I know it's too early. I feel like I'm becoming one of those supermarkets that puts out their Christmas stock like way too early. But something about the end of summer coming has really just made me start to think about my plans for the rest of the year. And one of those things that I really want to do is knit myself a festive sweater that I can wear not just on Christmas Day, but throughout the whole festive period. A little bit cute, a little bit casual, kind of something I can wear to the pub, but also something that I can also dress up on Christmas Day. So I've been collecting quite a few patterns lately. I actually posted this on Instagram the other day and it went insane. So I think there's quite a lot of other people who reluctantly are also starting to think about Christmas sweaters at the moment as well. I put this vest on today because this is actually what I wore on Christmas last year. I wore it with a fancy dress. But yeah, I definitely want something that feels more festive for this year. Probably red or white or some combination of red and white. So if you're kind of getting into the same mindset as well, I thought I would share some of the patterns that I've been looking at and we can just go through them together and figure out if these are the one. The first sweater is the Holly Harvest sweater by Mippy the Label. This one is knit in DK and comes in sizes extra small to 5XL, and it is a circular yoke colourwork sweater. There are just a few things about this that make it a little bit more interesting than your typical top-down collar work. First of all, the collar is a 3x1 folded rib with a picot edge detail. So I just thought that was a really cute little added detail that I haven't seen in many other patterns. And I also just like how the color work is, it's definitely festive. Like you can see the holly and feels quite Christmassy with some of the snow patterns and stuff, but it's also quite wearable for the rest of winter, I feel. It's definitely not screaming Christmas, which I think is a good thing. I also love the sleeves. I'm a big fan of a balloon sleeve that tapers down to a not so balloony sleeve. I hate sleeves that are too wide to be able to roll them up because I just always roll my sweaters up. But then I do like kind of the look of the wideness. So when I see a pattern where it has the kind of balloon that goes in to a more narrow like cuff, I just love it. And it's got the little colour work on the sleeves as well, which is just so cute. The next one is the Ricky Bloom sweater by Onling. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And this is another colourwork sweater, but it is a drop shoulder, which I like. This is knit on 4mm needles and goes from sizes extra small to 6XL. I just love how this is, it's obviously wintry, snowy, it can be Christmassy, but you can also just wear it all winter as well, because I feel like the thing with Christmas sweaters is sometimes it puts me off is I'm just thinking, well, realistically, how much wear am I going to get out of this? So as I've been looking for sweaters, I have been looking for ones that are a bit more wearable, like outside of just the festive period, and you can kind of wear them all winter. And this one definitely fits that bill. There are so many different colours that people have used in the Ravelry project pages, so I really enjoyed looking through those. And yeah, I just think this is a super cute one if you don't want something that screams Christmas, but you still want to knit yourself a Christmas sweater. The next one is, well, two patterns by the same designer. These are two patterns that have been playing on my mind for over a year. You've probably heard of it before. This is nothing new, but I just wanted to talk about it. This is the Northern Augustins number 4 and the Northern Augustins number 9 by Augustins DK. Augustins DK has the best Christmassy vibes sweaters. I love the colours that she picks, and I just think they're absolutely stunning. And especially the Northern Augustins number 4, which came out in 2024, has had chance for a few more projects. There's 300 projects of this on Ravelry, and almost every single one just looks so good. So let's talk about this one first. It's super popular. I think what I would do to make it a little bit, change it up a tiny bit from the pattern photos, is invert the colours. So I would, to make it feel a bit more Christmassy, do a red sweater and then do the little bows in like a white or a cream. The suggested yarn for this is heavy merino and soft silk mohair, meaning this is probably, I guess that means it's a bulky or Aran sweater, and the suggested needles are 6 mil. So that is another thing that I'm enjoying about this sweater. I feel like it would knit up pretty quickly. I love a fingering weight sweater or even a DK weight sweater, but when you've been doing quite a lot of them for a while, when you suddenly go to like a chunky sweater, it's quite satisfying because it just knits up so quickly and you get that dopamine rush. And yeah, I think I'm kind of wanting to do a bulkier, heavier weight project, because a lot of the things I've been doing at the moment have been on quite small needles. So I think I'm ready for something like this. And I actually think this one is the one that I'm leaning towards actually knitting for this year. I just think it's a perfect combination of casual but also a little bit fancy. It's not something you see every day, and again, it's also quite wearable outside of Christmas. Obviously it's bows, but bows can kind of just be worn anytime, so you can wear it throughout autumn and winter and beyond. So I love this one. I really think I'm gonna do it. The only thing that slightly concerns me is the width of the floats. I think I'll have to be very careful not to like call anyone's Ravelry projects out, but I've seen quite a lot of people have kind of, it's got quite tense floats around where that bit where it gets quite wide. I think that's just because there's quite a lot of stitches in between each float. So I think I would go up a needle size when I'm doing the colour work just to kind of counteract that. When I did my rosy sweater, I did that. I just went up a single needle size on the colour work sections, and that completely removed any issues with tension or pulling or tightness or anything like that. So I definitely think I would do that and just be careful and probably catch the float like halfway through that little section just to avoid that, because there is nothing worse than knitting a colour work and realising that the tension is all tight. I just hate it. The other modification I would probably make is making the sleeves a little bit narrower. As I said earlier, I cannot stand a sleeve that I can't roll up. So I have noticed that in Augustine's DK's patterns, she does tend to make her sleeves a little bit wider than average, I would say, which some people love, but for me personally, I just like a little bit of a narrower sweater. So I'd probably just add in a few more decreases on the sleeves just to mean that I can roll them up. When I get a bit hot and sweaty in the pub, when I get a bit overexcited at Christmas, I can roll my sleeves up and it won't be a problem. And then kind of the same thing with Augustine's number 9. I do love this design. I think it's so stunning, but the sleeves I think are a bit too wide. And I do love this design, and I think if you love a wide sleeve, definitely go for this. But I think the one thing that's stopping me choosing this over the other one is I think decreasing in a colourwork pattern like that, especially as a very consistent pattern, I think would be quite tricky, and I don't know if I can be bothered to figure out how to do that. So I just know that I probably would get frustrated by the sleeves, and for that reason I am going to probably not knit this one, even though I love it. The little peoples, I think I'd probably cut the little people out or maybe change the design just because, I don't know, they're a bit random. But this is not to hate on this pattern. I love this pattern. That's why I'm including it in this roundup. If you like the little people and you like wide sleeves, you will love this pattern. And I still think it's probably one of the most stunning colourwork sweaters I've ever seen. I just think the sleeves are not quite for me. Another sweater I've had my eye on is the George sweater by Colibri by Johanna. This was actually a sweater that I believe she knitted for her wedding and wore it on her wedding day. It's got this massive bow on it, which is designed to be worn with the bow at the back, and then the front is just quite a high sort of boat neck line, and then you just have the bare back behind you. And then obviously you can kind of style it if you have, I believe the designer, when she wore it with her wedding dress, she kind of had lace sticking out either side, which just looked so nice. And I was just imagining wearing this, like knitting this in red, and I just thought that would make such a cute Christmas sweater. My only thing about it, thinking about it now, is if you're sitting down at the pub, clearly all my Christmas plans involve just going to the pub, the back is not so visible. So I don't know whether that's a problem, but it's still super cute even from the front, like just the plain sweater. But yeah, the little bow detail is just a cute little pop. I also wonder if you could wear it reverse with the bow at the front. I don't know if that would look a bit silly or if that would work. But either way, I think bows in general for some reason feel like Christmas, I guess because you wrap presents and put bows on them. So I just thought this was another cute option. This is knit with lace weight mohair held double, and it's knit on 5mm needles. And then I guess on 5mm needles it would become quite a loose, airy fabric, which is quite nice and delicate seeming. So yeah, this is super cute. If you love bows, this is a good one. There's another bow sweater. This is just a bow sweater roundup at this point. This is the Betty Christmas sweater. It was part of a knit along, originally by You Knit Toronto. And the step-by-step videos, and I think it was kind of a knit along, so they posted step-by-step tutorials throughout the knit along. That's obviously over now. This is from 2024, but I just like this one. I think it's super wearable, and I think it would be nice if you work in an office as well and you wanted something a bit covered up but still feeling a bit Christmassy. And I just love it in this red colour. I just think it's super cute, and it's quite simple but also, as I say, quite wearable. The suggested yarn is a silk mohair blend, and the suggested needle size are 3.25mm. So I think this is one of those delicate pieces that is going to take quite a while to knit. So it's lucky I'm doing this video so early, isn't it? Because it'll give you time to knit it if you're interested in this one. Another one I love is the Nordic Snowflake Sweater Chunky by Cheryl Mukhtari. This one is worsted weight yarn knit on 6mm needles, and just a very simple snowflake sweater pattern, colour work, circular yoke. It's quite simple, but imagine this in red and white. It would feel very Christmassy. Even in the colours the designer has chosen, it still looks super festive. Now, there's two. You might have heard of these because they're by Pernille Larsen, who is the designer for Knitting for Olive, but I just thought I'd throw them in anyway because I actually hadn't seen one of them, which is the Snow Sweater Adult. This is part of a collection that there's lots of kids designs. There's like a kid's dress, a kid's jumper, a kid's hat, a kid's vest, and then there's the adult sweater. So this is super cute if you're a parent or know a parent and you want to knit the whole family some festive things. I just think this is super cute. The suggested yarn is obviously Knitting for Olive, merino, and soft silk mohair, but I guess any sort of fingering weight wool with mohair would work, and that kind of equates to a DK weight. And this is basically just a plain sweater, but then the sleeve has this really fun snow. It has like a snow scene, kind of reminds me of a snow globe. And I just love that because you can kind of have a simple sweater that just has a little bit of razzmatazz on the sleeves, and it's just so cute. I just love it. Most people's projects have gone with the original blue that was in the original design, but I've seen a few that have red, and I have to say the red sweater, or even like a sort of browny red, orangey red with the white at the end, feels very Santa Claus. So that definitely makes it, like, takes it even to the next level of festive. And I kind of like with this one, again, it feels very casual as a sweater, and then it just has the little fun bit on the arm. So it's totally wearable and definitely not fitting in the ugly Christmas sweater category. Now there is one sweater I'm going to talk about at the end which does fall into that category, but I just had to include it. But while we're talking about Pernille Larsen, there is also another sweater that she has designed that is called the Holly Sweater Adult, and this is again using the same combo of Knitting for Olive, merino, and soft silk mohair, but it's a holly design circular yoke with red bobbles, which I've been intrigued by bobbles. Like, I don't necessarily love an overly ornate feminine thing with like loads of bobbles, but I think this could be a fun kind of minimalistic way to try out bobbles, and I just think it's super cute. And again, it's not too in your face, but it's definitely Christmassy. I'm a big fan of holly at Christmas. My mum always goes and collects holly from around where we live and always puts it up as decoration. So in my mind, this is like marking the start of the festive season, is once my mum has the holly up in her house. So that reminds me of lovely times. If you can't tell, I am a bit of a Christmas fan, but my family go crazy for Christmas. Not even in like a super religious way, just in like a, I don't know, we just love to have fun at Christmas and eat loads of food and drink a bit too much, and it's just a fun time. So this sweater is just making me think of that. I feel like I probably will knit this at some point. The only thing that slightly puts me off, and this seems to be the case with a lot of Christmas sweaters, is it's a circular yoke. And I don't know if circular yokes suit my body shape. I have quite wide shoulders, and I've only ever knit one circular yoke sweater, and it was a little bit small for me, but I don't know if that's just the yarn I used or whether it was the wrong size. So that's just one thing I'm a bit cautious about when it comes to a lot of these sweaters, actually, is they are circular yokes. I feel like when it's an oversized circular yoke, I'm not as concerned, but something like this is a little bit tighter, so I don't know if it will fit me very well, but I think maybe I need to experiment with that a little bit and not just write off all circular yokes because I'm worried about the fit. But either way, if you are not a circular yoke hater, this could be a really cute one to knit up. And then I know I've been talking a lot about colour work because it feels like colour work sweaters and Christmas just go hand in hand. This one is more using texture to feel a bit Christmassy. It has bubbles as snow, and then it has little trees that are just done with knits and pearls, and it's supposed to kind of remind you of a snow globe, which is super cute, and it's a raglan, so avoids that circular yoke issue that I was talking about earlier. It's also knit with my favourite yarn of all time, which is Gilead by Durarum Natura. I knit my Lakes pullover with this yarn, and I cannot wait to knit something else with it at some point. It is amazing. It wears so well. It's the most beautiful yarn, and it's also Aran, which means it knits up pretty quickly, which is also nice. So I'm a big fan of this design. I think it's cute and it's a bit more subtle. And if you've been wanting to try out bubbles, it's also just a fun way to try it out on something a bit more Christmassy. Super, super cute. Oh, I didn't say the name of the designer. This one is by Una Sue. And last but not least, we have the Lilyhammer Christmas Pullover by MJ Wilms. Now, I think I might have to blur out part of this sweater because I don't know if I'm going to get demonetized. I'm not sure what YouTube will allow me to show of this sweater, but I think you can get the idea of what's going on here. This is actually a chart that kind of goes along with the Lilyhammer pullover pattern, which is also another cute Christmassy sweater. But when I discovered this Christmassy edition, I just thought I had to include it. I also feel like it's kind of a good one for people who hate Christmas, are just a bit like Scrooge vibes. But funnily enough, I said this in my Instagram post, and then the designer commented saying that she actually just designed it because she loves Christmas, not because she hates Christmas. But I feel like it's kind of the perfect one for if you're a lover or a hater of Christmas, or you just like kind of slightly ugly Christmas sweaters. And that is not an insult. It is ugly in the best possible way. It's DK and suggested yarn is Drops Lima, which I believe is the DK version of Drops Nepal, which is another one of my favourite yarns. It's very affordable, but very, very soft and nice. I haven't actually used Drops Lima, but if Drops Nepal is anything to go by, then this is a nice yarn, and it's not too expensive either, which is good. So yeah, that is all the Christmas sweaters I had to share with you today. Also, have you noticed my new backdrop? I have been working hard to get this room less of a chaotic state. We've been renovating. The walls are freshly plastered and painted. I've purchased a little storage cabinet for my yarn and my knitting books and knitting things. So hopefully you enjoyed the background. I still got a lot of work to do in this room, but we're getting there slowly. Let me know if you are knitting a Christmas sweater this year or if you are just going to skip it entirely, which is completely understandable. And if there's something that you feel like should have been included in this video, also let me know. and I will see you in the next video. Bye!